everyone. Welcome to another GoDaddy Pro Meetup. My name is Marcus Burnett. I hope you're having a good week so far. Today we get the pleasure of hearing from someone who is a genuine WooCommerce expert, and we'll be sharing about how you can sell your learning courses online using WooCommerce. Angela Blake is joining me today, and she is one of the product managers here at GoDaddy. Welcome to the meetup, Angela. How are you doing today?
Hey, Marcus, I'm doing great and glad to be here. Super excited to talk about e-learning specifically because I use online courses myself all the time. So there's a huge opportunity there to be providing these online courses or someone who builds sites for other people to help them provide these online courses. During the pandemic, we were seeing a lot of people wanting to homeschool, or a lot of people having to find at-home alternatives to the learning solutions that they were used to. And that hasn't gone away. So with the e-learning growing upwards of 36% in 2020, I don't have a number of what it's currently at, but a lot of people are continuing to want to stay home because then they can learn at their own pace online. There are a lot of options for learning at your own pace that aren't necessarily strict as far as timeline goes. They like that flexibility, being able to learn on the side, or people who are still choosing to keep their kids in homeschool, partly because the pandemic is still a thing, even though it has slowed down a bit, or for other various reasons. Maybe they enjoyed it. We're seeing a lot of massive open online course sites, which we looks for short. Seeing traffic increase as well. I'm going to present you a few downsides of this market as well, but just on the surface, it's a really good opportunity, and a lot of people are wanting to take advantage of it for various reasons, not just K-12, but also business and corporate upskilling, career changes, things like that. So if you are selling sites to other people, selling the service of building sites to other people, it's also increasing the market opportunity for you there as well, because a lot of people are not going to know how to create their own sites for this purpose. Just waiting for my slide to change. Okay. So like I said, there are some challenges. One of the biggest things is that with the market being kind of full of a lot of different options for learning online, it can be really competitive and hard to differentiate yourself from other services. Like I mentioned before, there are those massive sites that you might be used to, like Coursera and Udemy. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but there's a lot of competition out there already. So whether you're building a site with courses for yourself or building it for someone else, one of the things you're going to have to worry about is how you stand out in the crowd. One of the differentiators here for Lifter LMS is that it does have a drag and drop course builder. So that makes it a lot easier for you to put your courses together. It's going to be really a lot more user-friendly than some online course options. It's also got extensive compatibility with popular themes and site builders. It touts the ability to be compatible with any well-coded theme, by the words of the website. So with that, and the fact that it also has a large community and even a community of experts that can help you learn how to use it or provide services if you need a little bit of help, Lifter LMS is also a great option, especially if you have a bit larger budget, or if you're someone who is creating online learning sites for other people, and you can sort of build it out in your pricing there, in your web design pricing. Okay. I thought I had the right slide there for a second. Cool. One of our options, originally with SkyVerge, but now with GoDaddy, is WooCommerce memberships. We see this in use a lot with online learning. I know when it says memberships, e-learning is probably not the first thing that you think of. You're probably thinking of communities or discounts, things like that. But a lot of people do actually use this for e-learning and online courses. It's got a lot of features, so I can't really go through all of them, but what's useful about it is that it can be used for a lot more than just online courses. So if online courses is just a portion of your business strategy for what you're trying to do with your website, then memberships is a little more versatile solution for you because it doesn't it doesn't pigeonhole you essentially into just being an online course site. It can be used for a lot of different things, especially if you're offering member-specific benefits or if you want to sell to teams. With the Teams extension, you can do that. It also has drip content and email members. So there are a lot of different things you can do with this that aren't specific to online courses, but work with online courses as well. So this is a little more comprehensive strategy for that. When the first one we talked about was Sensei LMS. It has sort of a small array of different add-ons that are kind of essential online course solutions. So we've talked about content drip. I've mentioned it a couple different times, where you'll drip content over a period of time. So it's basically exactly what it sounds like. But let's say you have someone who purchases a course and you only want them to access one lesson per week. You can set up something like that with this Sensei LMS extension for content drip. Or if you want them to be able to track their course progress, you want to share grades or provide certificates. A lot of those incentives are things that can keep students engaged and can make your course more valuable. Sensei LMS has some add-ons that can cover that, and Lifter LMS has add-ons to cover that as well. So I would say Lifter LMS is a solution that has a lot more versatility and advanced extensions available to you. A lot of their extensions are going to make it more compatible with other tools you might use, from themes to marketing tools to website builders, payment options, just different things that you might want to do, that you might want to use outside of online course. You might have already have a theme that you like to use or a builder that you like to use, and this is going to make all of that work together so that you can build your site and run your business how you want to without being limited by what your online course solution will integrate with, because they just have a ton of options for that. So I was probably going a little too far in depth here anyway. But yeah, the long story short with Lifter LMS is that you want to look at the bundles for their add-ons and also look out for the add-on options that they have for priority support or those webinars where you can get specialized help with Lifter LMS, because that's something that separates them from the rest of the pack as far as solutions goes. So we're going to move on from that one.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going to drop back out, but I did leave a note in the chat that we did have Chris Badgett from Lifter LMS on the show last week. So if anyone is interested in learning a bit more about Lifter LMS, and I think he left a promo code there as well, they can check out last week's event. All right, I'm headed back out in the background. Continue.
Thanks, Marcus. Yeah, that sounds like a great opportunity. I might have to check that out for myself because I was kind of wanting to use Lifter LMS. A lot of people want to make their purchase decision based on whether someone they know or even just other people online enjoyed the product. I use Amazon reviews all the time to make sure that I don't order something from Amazon that is just going to be junk. So you want to do the same thing with your online courses and make sure that they can see a review. It's also a good thing to ask prior students to review, even if you've had an online course site already established and you're only just now adding Product Reviews Pro. Maybe send an invite to some of your past students to see if they want to go on and leave a little bit of a review for you, just so that other potential students know that your courses will do the job and provide them with the knowledge that they're looking for. Social proof is so important for competing out there. We mentioned before that it is a competitive atmosphere. There are a lot of e-learning solutions, a lot of people selling online courses out there. To set yourself apart, you want to make sure you let people know what kind of quality you're providing and that other people have gotten what they needed out of your course. So for further marketing of online courses, you might look at an affiliate solution. A lot of people will find that referral is the best source of future customers. I was again talking about that with a customer when we were discussing his online courses today. He said that a lot of his new students come from referral as well.
I did ask for some questions in the chat, and I'll let some people think about that. I do have a couple of questions that I kind of gathered ahead of time, so we'll start with those while people think about what they might want to ask over in the chat area. You talked a little bit about subscriptions and memberships at the top, and I was just curious if you had any advice or recommendations on going like subscriptions and memberships versus an LMS platform. Like, should you go one or the other, or together, or just what do people need to consider when going maybe one direction or the other, or needing all of those together?
Oh, that is a good question, because I think it really depends on the individual person's situation where they would want to go with one versus the other. I'm going to say start out with an LMS just to kind of get an idea of what course structure would look like, because, and here's the reason, I don't mean to point people away from our SkyVerge favorites by any means, but
Sure.
but when you're using memberships and subscriptions, it's like I mentioned earlier, when it's not specific to online courses, if you haven't built an online course site before and you haven't designed that flow and how it will look to your students going through that process, you might need a little bit more guidance and structure on how that looks. The LMS systems are going to have that sort of out of the box. So when you're looking for more customization, you want a little more control over how you have things set up. That's when you're going to want to look at memberships and subscriptions.
Nice. I do have another one, but we do have a couple of questions coming in the chat, so I'll start with those. John asks, what is your good, better, best, not just one versus the other? I'm going to guess that John is asking about the learning management software platforms.
Oh boy. Why are you asking me to rate these? It's more of a which is the best tool for the job, I think, which is why I've approached it as one versus the other. But if we're going to say good, better, best, I think we have to form two categories for that. And I would say Sensei LMS is good, but Lifter LMS is better. But you have to keep the higher price point in mind for that.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend looking through the Sensei LMS and Lifter LMS, or any other learning management platform that anyone decides to go with through the add-ons, to see what's available. But again, because it's WooCommerce and WordPress, really anything, like you said, email marketing or social that works with WordPress and WooCommerce is going to work for selling courses as well, including when you get to WooCommerce, things like cart abandonment plugins or features that help bring traffic back and all that stuff, because it's tied into WooCommerce and WordPress the way that they work. That's going to automatically give you that benefit through trying to sell and the courses and all that.
Yeah, I feel so lucky that I got to talk to one of our customers just a little while before this meetup, because he was, like I said, an online seller. He was using our memberships plugin, and he told me that the biggest challenge in selling courses was lead generation. So he was of the same mind as well. The great thing about these solutions is that they know that these LMS creators, they know that that's your biggest pain point, and they're already trying to solve for that. So all of them are integrated with all kinds of marketing solutions.
Awesome. I don't see any more in the chat. I have one, maybe kind of a little bit of a wrap-up question here for you. Let's say I'm a brick and mortar business and want to add online learning to my business. Where should I start?
As a brick and mortar?
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking back a couple of years at the beginning of the pandemic. I'm, whatever it is, a yoga
Yeah.
studio, and I want to add
Okay.
online learning. Where do I start, since I don't have anything? I've been focused solely on this business and my building, and now I want to branch out online and add online learning to as a revenue stream. Where should I start with that?
Thanks for providing some context because I was trying to come up with a scenario in my mind. I'm like, why would it? Because
Sure.
when I hear brick and mortar, the first thing I think is
Yeah,
like
physical
clothing
goods.
store. So I'm like, I'm walking into a clothing store, Don't judge
Right.
me.
No.
Like, why would a clothing store need an online course? I'm just not very creative minded, I
They
guess.
could.
Yeah. So if we're talking about like when the pandemic started and maybe some of these businesses were trying to shift more toward online and e-learning for things like that. The first place I think I would start would be subscriptions and memberships for that scenario, purely because the bulk of their business isn't online store e-learning. The bulk of their business is already brick and mortar. So they don't need an out-of-the-box just online learning solution. They need to add to what they're already using. They probably already have a website, or if they don't, they're probably going to want to get one up and running pretty quickly. And then solutions like membership and subscriptions will allow them to do basically whatever they want specific to their business needs. So it's like less specifically e-learning focused, and it's a little more versatile for what they might need.
Yeah, for sure. And I might just add on that just a step even further back, and just to figure out, like we talked about before, that content generation is going to be the hardest thing. So figuring out like what it is that you want to provide, what do you want to sell as far as online learning goes, and start to generate some of that content, whether it's videos or written material, and figure out like where the roadblocks are.